when learning English, because we need to understand that every single letter has different sounds in every language. Every language has an alphabet, and that alphabet has specific sounds in every language, right? So in English, we have these letters, 26 letters, but there are not just 26 sounds, there are many more, and you need to start practicing them. Now, this sounds very easy, I know. Oh, so yeah, how am I going to memorize all the sounds? Well, first of all, you need to practice. That's number one. You need to go out there and you need to start, learning how to pronounce these sounds. I know it's not easy, but you need to put some time every day and start putting the effort. So, how do you practice this? Well, first you need to recognize them, okay? Because if you don't recognize these sounds, what's going to happen is that when you speak, you're going to keep making the same mistake, because for you, these sounds sound alike, and you're going to keep pronouncing it in the wrong way, okay? So, for example, for Spanish speakers, sometimes, not sometimes, I know because I speak Spanish and that's my native language, and I know, believe me. So for Spanish speakers, the word, they don't recognize the difference between the SH and the CH. So they don't recognize the difference between the EE and the EA. So for example, or also the I, right? Because the I has similar sound. For example, if I say Phil, or feel, chip or cheap. So these are words that has sounds that do not exist in Spanish or maybe other languages as well. So you need to recognize first, your brain needs to recognize these sounds so you can start using them when you speak, because you won't use them if you don't understand the difference. That's number one. You need to look at yourself, right, in the mirror. Try to use the mirror. This helps a lot. And also when we hear, we try to recognize the sound by listening and listening and listening and listening and listening and listening, but it doesn't get there, right? So what you can do is use a mirror and look at your image and look at your mouth and what you're doing. So one example will be the letter R. The letter R in English is completely different than the letter R in Arabic, the letter R in Spanish. They're very alike. That R in Spanish has a very strong sound because you touch your upper palate, right? When you pronounce the R in Spanish, your tongue is touching your upper palate. When you pronounce the R in English, you're not touching the upper palate. So you're just bending the back of your tongue to pronounce that R. 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 No, R, right? Or R. That's not how it sounds in English. So that's another way that you can use to start practicing the sounds of, the phonetics and the sounds of the letters. Use a mirror, see what you're doing with your mouth. Check how you're supposed to, have everything that is your jaws, your lips, your tongue. What's the position right there so you can produce that sound? Okay? And you need to recognize those sounds and you need to start practicing those sounds so you can improve your pronunciation. Otherwise, you're going to mispronounce certain words, right? So that's right there. Phonetics. Letter sounds. That's the first one.